What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are all having a good day. Hope your days are going swell. Good to see everybody. Today we're going to be doing the stream that we were supposed to do before we started getting sub-botted. So this stream was actually supposed to happen more than 2 weeks ago. But obviously circumstances got our attention diverted. What's up, Little Dark? What's up, Stuart? How are you guys doing? Hope your days are going well. Now, I suspected that we would have a lower view turnout here because this is no longer really a topical topic, but I figured, hey, I guess this is important enough to talk about. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about this whole flock thing that happened. So as you can see, this happened 2 weeks ago. It was actually a lot more relevant 2 weeks ago, but whatever. Hopefully you guys still enjoy it. Hopefully you guys like it. But basically, 404 Media is a news organization that did an interview with a former Flock employee, and he was actually talking about the company, talking about a lot of the shady things that they've been doing, and how Flock is able to get their gnarled fingers all over our privacy and everything. So we'll wait another minute or two for some people to get in here, and then we'll get started. Good to see everybody. I'm good, Jess. Thank you for asking, and thank you for being in the gaming stream earlier. You're a real one. Appreciate you. What's up, Ollie? What's up, Drake? That happens in everybody's stream, Confident Noob. That is a new YouTube update. I've already made a video on that. What's up, 26byte? How are you guys doing? What's up, Darby? What's up, Lemon Girl? What up, Patricia? What's up, Kin? What's up, Lev? What up, Oscar? What up, Stats? Good to see you guys. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. I'll have the captions on. Let me know if you guys want the volume louder, more quiet, whatever.
This episode was, mostly about a company rather than a chat just between two people like these episodes often are. I did ping Flock for a statement. I'm just going to read some of that now, especially as Jonathan had a specific role
How's
in
it
the
sound,
company.
guys?
I asked Flock, well, what do people in that role usually do? And his part of the statement that Flock replied with. Flock's public affairs team works with...
So this is what the person who he's about to interview worked as in Flock, if that makes sense. So we'll let him read it out.
Leaders, law enforcement agencies, and community stakeholders who are weighing whether or how to adopt public safety technology.
A little louder?
In practice, that means participating in public forums,
How's that?
appearing at hundreds of council meetings and town halls, answering questions directly from residents, and sharing best practices around accountability, oversight, and policy controls. We also engage directly with civil society, grassroots advocates, and other partners.
Yeah,
to
this guy sounds like he's better to record some ASMR, dude.
We are proud to participate in the public process and to advocate for technology that helps communities solve crimes, locate missing people, and improve public safety.
So, like I said, the person he's interviewing, Jonathan, I believe that's what he used to do.
Jonathan, thank you so much for coming on the show and for speaking with us. I really, really appreciate it.
It is an absolute honor to be here with you, Joseph.
So, I think the best place to start, quite simply, is could you explain for people what your job at Flock was? And I mean, literally the title, and maybe how that title changed, but then also just that role specifically. What were you literally doing at Flock, like day to day?
Yeah, so I was a government affairs manager at Flock.
What's up, Will?
So at the time, I helped represent the company to municipalities, to local officials, and, other conferences where you're basically meeting with potential customers and decision makers. So we were very much in the mix of everything between what's cutting edge in terms of technology, but what's also going on in terms of the market and what's going on in terms of regulatory affairs, updates, lawsuits, everything. So we were very much at the forefront of everything happening at Flock. And my job was to make sure that we were not only defending the company, but also representing the product as best as possible and making sure that we can get approved at council. If I had to, summarize it, I would represent the company during these public hearings, during deliberations from local elected boards.
what does the process of trying to get Flock sold to a city and installed look like? Is it
I'm interested to hear this because, with the way that most of us understand Flock is like, they kind of just popped out of nowhere, So I was like, I don't know how these guys got so prevalent, so, widespread so quickly. So this will be a good explanation here.
Flock maybe approaches a city and says, hey, we have this product that we think would be really useful. Then you explain the use cases and then the process goes on and on. Like, what does the process of Flock pitching its products to a city, then a city actually getting the product? What does that look like?
Yeah, so there's a sales team, right? And their job is to go out there and, they're going after smaller accounts, bigger accounts. And what that means is smaller cities to bigger cities. There's a difference between some town in Ohio and the city of San Francisco, right?
What's
and
up, Tan?
these could be, from hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars of product being sold. And so part of what it looked like was police departments approaching us, because police departments are honestly the best people to sell the product. One police department says, hey, I have this new gadget and I would love for you to be a part of it so we can better go after criminals together. There's a lot of...
Yeah, the way they go after criminals is by mass surveilling everybody around the world. I mean, it's honestly very similar to age verification, right? Especially ID age verification. When they say we're here to protect the kids, pretty much the same thing. What they do is they scapegoat an excuse and use it as a Trojan horse for mass surveillance. And in this case, it's literally mass surveillance, like actually cameras pointed at all of us and our cars and stuff. It's so weird.
Of socialization that happens across law enforcement agencies. So many times our salespeople would already be in touch with someone. Sometimes they would go out into the field and pitch people, but a lot of times businesses would come to us. And by business would come to us as local police departments who want in.
So how did you get involved in the first place? How did you sort of get that role to begin?
It's really ironic because I have more of a career in social justice work, from being like an activist, a union organizer.
Yeah, that is pretty damn ironic.
A local elected official in my city in Waltham, Massachusetts. I was the second youngest ever to get elected. So I started getting really involved with municipal broadband. And I really was thinking at the time, it was this techno optimism that maybe technology can be the answer to some of these.
Hey, thank you for the 100 bits, Joe. I appreciate you. Let's get some W's for Joe. Thank you, man.
Existential crises of our time. It doesn't just have to be this bad thing. So I kind of came out of an election where I was running for mayor at the time. I was a 2-time elected city councilor. We didn't quite win the mayoral.
There's a lot of women in this chat room. I don't think so. Is there? That's news to me. Well, welcome everybody.
We got very close, but I came out of that, and I remember going to this conference in Atlanta. And my friend at the time, who was also city councilor, it was the National League of Cities. And it's not my first time as an elected official to go to these conferences where you go network and meet with other people. But that's basically where I was kind of pitched the opportunity to join the company. And I want to speak to this more later, but it was during this moment that I was like, oh, they sell cameras. And I just remember thinking they're helping find missing people.
Right.
That to me was like, that makes sense. Like, we're using the same cameras in the highways that I'm used to paying tolls.
I mean, I don't really blame people for falling for that because, again, they didn't know when they're told that, the employees are told that they didn't know that the cameras are going to be everywhere across all roads and, watching what everyone does and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily blame people for falling for that. It's just like, how people fall for the ID age verification thing. Oh, it's for the kids, so that's why you should hand over your ID. It's like a lot of people are just ignorant about it,
To help find missing people, and we are basically hand in hand partners with the people with the milk carton, missing person.
Right.
So to me, it was this kind of naivete, to think that this wasn't part of a broader surveillance apparatus. So when I joined the company, I came in with this optimism that, this was a different company. This wasn't like Palantir, right? This was a very specific company that had a deep respect for civil rights and liberties, and that we wanted to make sure that we were sensitive and catering to the values of whatever municipality we were working with, whatever police department, whatever their policy was. So there was always this thing, in my
They
view,
can
at
go
least
flock themselves.
really throughout my career there, that we were honoring and respecting the wishes.
Thank you for the $2, my DD. Appreciate it. It's for the IDs, so give us your kids. Thanks for the $2, dude. Let's get some W's for them.
Of the people, and then on top of that, we were better than the competition, right? Because there were other competitors like Axon and Recor and all these other in the industry that didn't quite have our ethical standards in a tech industry.
Thank you for the, what is that, 10 bits on Twitch, Fallen Ninja 84. I appreciate you. Let's get some W's for Fallen Ninja. Thank you so much, dude.
Is only growing. So that was kind of like the blinders that I had on. And when you're in the company like this one, and it's everyone's working remotely, you're not exactly able to see some of the fires being put out. Part of my job was putting out fires, but it was in this very public domain arena, and I wasn't privy to how our technology was doing damage and how it was being abused and all these other things. I was just aware about concerns that the communities had, that legislators had, and my job was to make sure that we assuaged those concerns and that we were able to, at the end of the day, be part of some city budget.
That's a good word there, assuage.
So then, it's just a reoccurring expense, and we're part of the everyday practice of law enforcement at the local level.
When you first joined the company, as you say, where the company presents itself as finding missing people and this kind of narrow technology, when you first join Flock then, what's it like working at the company? What's the culture?
It's a very fast-paced environment. It's startup culture. You're moving fast. Things are moving fast. Everyone's out to, not everyone, but most people are trying to make a name for themselves. People are clearly making a lot of money. So it's pretty cutthroat across departments. And you're working
Thank
with
you, Fallen Ninja.
people,
I appreciate that, dude.
Right? And sometimes you're able to solve real issues. We were in the news constantly helping solve crime, so there's this overemphasis.
Not anymore. Not anymore. What's up, Glovetry?
Of look at the remarkable work that we're doing, and we would dramatize these things. It's a missing person. It was someone who was kidnapped. Even T-Pain, had his car, I think, swiped at some point, and a camera helped track that down.
County man facing charges accused of
I haven't heard about this.
Ending artist T-Pain not far from his Roswell home. The Roswell police say that they used an eyewitness as well as flock cameras to quickly track down this driver.
So T-Pain was like, singing our praises, and it's that kind of environment where everyone's kind of sipping the Kool-Aid, because the deal is so
sipping the Kool-Aid. I wonder if this guy knows a few memes.
Good. People are getting paid probably a lot more in an economy, even at that time, that isn't very friendly to young people, right? That isn't very inclusive of people of color, like myself and some of the other people that were in the company. So, there's this real entrepreneurial spirit, and there's also this real, we are at the next Microsoft. We are at the next Facebook. We are at the forefront of this amazing thing, and we're about to become the dominant name in this industry.
Well, you have become the dominant name in this industry, but not for a good reason.
Yeah. And, obviously I've spoken to many current and former Flock employees, and one thing that stood out to me is that, a lot of people really enjoy the engineering environment there. They feel that just on a purely sort of personal, selfish motivation, there's interesting computational problems where these engineers have to work on that sort of thing. And then you combine that with, it feels like we're working towards a very, good mission, and we are helping people and that sort of thing. You can
let's
see
get to
why
the spicy stuff.
I mean, can you give us some examples? Like, what do you mean by that? Public, you were doing a bit more specifically. You were mentioning that you were putting out these fires publicly. I mean, can you give us...
I'm going to assume he means on how, the Flock employees are supposed to combat the backlash that they get.
Some examples, like what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember there was this city. I would get flown out to different cities. I would get flown out to different towns. And sometimes I was the, in case of emergency button. So we had a multi-million-dollar deal in this city in Florida. And because the sheriff was presenting it, the county board wouldn't question it a lot. But in case they had questions, that was my role to jump in. And if there were like these civil rights questions, these privacy questions, legal questions, it was my role to jump in there and help, calm those concerns and make sure that we had a win. I remember going to a board where the people of color in the board were the ones, the city councilors in that board were the ones raising the alarm, saying, hey, these cameras are going to be installed in predominantly communities of color. How are you going to guarantee me that this isn't going to further criminalize our communities, right? So it was part of my job to go there and say, hey, we map these cameras out very thoughtfully. We go where we think that there's likely to be the entry points and exit points of a community. We go where there's a lot of traffic, but then at the same time, we can respect your wishes and have a really strong policy. So there was this kind of deliberative approach where I would go to these meetings, and if it was a legislator, we would have meetings with them sometimes in advance, sometimes in the public realm, right? Or if it was a town hall and there was community pushback, in that very example that I'm talking about, there was a lot of community pushback. And I remember there was a vigil outside related to something completely else. And I was just taken aback, like, these people outside that I very much respect and probably resonate with probably hate what I'm representing.
Right.
And I stood out there with them in this vigil, and I was there with them in this vigil, and it was really related to something else. But it was incredible to think that my job is to basically make sure that this resistance doesn't become a vote reflected in the vote of the council, right? So it's kind of like this dismantling of, the public input.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what started unraveling for me very quickly, this facade that we were helping these democratically elected boards represent, number one, take care of their people, right? This is the number one marketing tool for Flock, is that this is somehow going to improve public safety. But number two, it's that we are partners. We will go to the town hall and present this product. We will go there and meet with the people and address concerns. And we'll make sure that your policies reflect your community's wishes. But what became clear to me over time is that real decision-making isn't happening in the public process. The real decision-making is happening between the company and some police department, and they're just trying to get to a win. They're trying to get to a check mark on the budget, and no matter what is said, they just want cameras out there, right? For one reason or another, their mode of operation is,
true,
by any means necessary, we're going to get
Did you find the
cameras
stuff
out
getting
there.
botted? No,
And
still getting botted. We got botted earlier today.
It's working with the mayor or putting pressure differently and working around different constituencies that will put pressure on the mayor or the city council. We are there to, really enforce the will of Flock. We're there to pay lip service, but we're really there to do the will of Flock. These companies are a workaround. If it was just a public process, right, where license plate readers are controlled by the public and they're regulated in the public domain, and there's actual...
Shout out to this guy for having the balls to do this, by the way, because history usually isn't too kind to whistleblowers. When people are exposing some sort of massive company or corporation, sometimes things don't go too well for them.
Laws involved in how we regulate them, right? There would be a lot more scrutiny. And there would be a lot more legal scrutiny to justify. But because it's a public-private partnership, these police departments have a workaround, not just state law, but also municipal law, but also just basic public scrutiny. So, this is just so business as usual. It's so business as usual, right? It's to say these police departments, these law enforcement agencies are their own basic lobby.
Right.
They are their own political force. They're not just public sector employees. They are their own political force.
With a lot of leverage, a lot of power.
And they know how to implement their leverage. They have relationships with elected officials. And this is nothing new to me. I was a city councilor at the time. But what really disturbed me was my own city. What happened in my own city, right? So I live in Waltham, Massachusetts. Towns around in Massachusetts, I was aware were getting cameras. When I was working at Flock, I had no idea my own police department was having talks with Flock. And what's ironic is that's
crazy that he had no idea about that, even though he was kind of like a higher up employee at Flock.
Police department knew there would be public scrutiny around this. There would be a public outcry. So you know what they did? They have a forfeiture fund. And they basically went straight to the mayor and they said, we want to buy these cameras. And they basically bought them directly through the mayor and used
What's up, Ochi Terry?
these public forfeiture funds, which are only controlled by the police department. So they completely bypassed the city council.
Yeah, no need for a vote, no need for it to be in a city budget, anything like that. It's just purely a police department purchase through the mayor to Flock. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was, to me, at the time I already left the company, but to me it was kind of like
I've been
this,
hearing that
like,
name,
you think
Hudson.
you're on
I see people are mentioning Axon. Maybe that's something we need to look into next.
to something, and then I was like, I figured it out. And then it was like just this overdetermined.
Thank you for the $2, Bite DD. Really appreciate it. Let's get some W's for Bite DD. Thank you so much, dude. Thought an ad played, but no, that guy has a voice.
Of what I figured out, which was they completely worked around the public process, public scrutiny, democratic processes. And they're like, here are flock cameras, 16 cameras just appeared overnight, no policy in place, no ordinances in place, just people getting surveilled.
The thing is, though, guys, like with these kind of like niche stories, like with, I mean, I know Flock isn't niche, but to our channel, it's niche, right? Like, and you guys are mentioning Axon as well. Like, I'm only going to really do it if like the viewer turnout justifies it. You know what I mean? Because Flock is the big name right now. And I'm noticing our viewer numbers are lower than normal, you know? So I want to do the streams and the things that more people are interested in. So if you guys are interested in the Flock and Axon streams, like we need more people to show up for them. You know what I mean? I have to go based on that, obviously.
No discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. There was public outcry as soon as those cameras were in place. So then the city council went back and asked them, you know, how did you procure these? How did this happen? What happened? And he got corrected.
It's all
I'm
good,
not going to say
Badger. Somebody just broke into my house.
He was basically forced to backtrack and say, because he was like acting as if he didn't know, and then he said, no, we went through the normal process. And then the chairman of the committee had to tell him, you did not come to my committee. So he said, oh no, we used our forfeiture fund. So now there's been a whole process to roll these back and push against these contracts. This very contract that's here, people want to take down these cameras. But again, what's remarkable is that we needed to organize. I organized with city councilor at large to have a town hall to basically really get everyone on the same page to say, you know, this company's a leaky boat. The data is not well secured. And then on top of that, they just completely bypassed a democratic process, public procurement process, and they just installed cameras.
It really just seems like they just popped out of nowhere.
So, you know, it's a slap in the face to, I think, a lot of the people.
Damn, was that just the intro or something? Long ass intro. Oh, are they doing some sort of sponsorship or something? Oh yeah, no. I mean, pay your bills, do what you got to do. But oh my god, hold on a minute. Let me just show you guys what they're doing a sponsorship for. Oh, they're doing multiple sponsorships. Okay, hold on. Let me just show you what are the sponsorships they're doing for. Not Mint Mobile. My eyes just caught something.
For details.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
No. Why do people not know by now how scummy BetterHelp is? Do you guys understand what BetterHelp is and how shitty it is? Dude, BetterHelp is one of the worst YouTube sponsorships of all time. One of the shadiest, worst sponsorships ever. They like don't even do a background check. So BetterHelp is like therapy, online therapy, right? For those of you guys that don't know. I have heard so much bad shit about BetterHelp. I've heard BetterHelp employees come out and say, yeah, they didn't even do a background check on us, nothing, you know, whatever, right? Like, BetterHelp is like, do we need to do another fucking, like, I mean, we never did one, but like, does somebody else need to do another exposed video on BetterHelp? Let me just show you guys something real quick. There should be like a fucking 100 videos about this. BetterHelp is still a scam. Why everyone still hates BetterHelp. What is wrong with BetterHelp? The truth about BetterHelp. We need to talk about YouTube's promoting this BetterHelp. PewDiePie made a video about it. Fucking PewDiePie, the biggest YouTuber in the world, I believe at the time. I believe he was still the #1 YouTuber 7 years ago. Why do people still do BetterHelp sponsorships? It's fucking unreal. All right, is anybody talking about this in the comments? I'm gonna assume most people won't, but BetterHelp. Reporting on a third-party tech company misusing and profiting data while taking a sponsorship from BetterHelp is very hypocritical. I would hope 404 Media takes this concern seriously. Yeah, true. Then in a BetterHelp ad, BetterHelp literally sold medical data to data aggregators without care of who it would harm. Yeah, I don't know, man. How do people still take BetterHelp sponsorships, man? It's fucking unreal. For those of you guys that like don't know, I mean, BetterHelp is kind of a rabbit hole, but my point is No YouTuber or Twitch streamer or anyone should ever work with them. They are fucking awful. All right. Anyways, rant over.
Flock would, I'm not sure if the ACL used the word lie, but like the
You know what? Hold on. It's kind of a douchebag thing for me to do, but I kind of want to do it. Do these guys have a Twitter? 404 Media. They have a Twitter. All right. Let's go to one of like, hey, thank you for the $2 Stuart. I appreciate that. BetterHelp is awful. I agree. Let's get some W's for Stuart. Thank you so much, dude. Okay, I just want to find one of their tweets where they like talk about something kind of related to like tech or whatever. Because I actually do like go on these guys' website pretty frequently. Like they have done some good reports about stuff. So I guess we'll do this one. Hey, I like a lot of articles you guys post, but why are you working BetterHelp? They have been exposed numerous times for being a shady scam. Stop. I think that's all I gotta say. Yeah, hold on. Let me take a screenshot. This is actually worth it because I don't know. This is just insane to me. How can you guys work with BetterHelp in the big 2026, man? If you guys were working with them in 2018 or something when nobody knew anything about them, then fair enough. But what the hell, man? Okay. You're working with BetterHelp. They've been exposed numerous times for being a shady scam. Yep. Okay. There we go. I mean, it's just worth saying. Thank you. I didn't know BetterHelp was bad. What's the deal with them? So basically, they're like a super shady company that has been proven by multiple employees and research to not actually background check their therapists. So, you know, therapy deals with serious things. BetterHelp is advertised for people who are really at the lowest of the low. You know, so I'm going to try to figure out a way to say this without getting demonetized. But there are some people who might use BetterHelp that might want to, you know, do something bad to themselves. You know, so they need to speak with obviously people who are qualified to handle those situations. And BetterHelp would not fact check people. And there were some people who literally got hired as a therapist in BetterHelp without any prior therapy experience or any type of certification or degree. That is also not mentioning the fact that apparently they do harvest data and sell it. So, yeah, BetterHelp is dog shit. And anybody who works with them, I mean, it's especially funny that these guys are working with BetterHelp because 404 Media is known for being in the tech space, news, all that type of thing, you know? That's insane. Thanks. Yeah, no problem, Dozer. I mean, more people should know about it. I'm not, you know, I don't fault people for not knowing about it, but these guys who are an actual tech news website, 404 Media, if you guys don't know what 404 Media is, let me show you guys their website. We got to pivot a little bit. This is important. They're an independent media company. They talk about stuff in tech, you know, space, algorithms, stuff like that. It would be virtually impossible for them to not know that BetterHelp is shitty. I do like their website too. I read some of their articles sometimes when they don't paywall them. But what the fuck, man? Like, I don't know what they're doing. Okay. Anyways, back to the video. Sorry.
Go to one of these places, and as you say, you're almost like the break glass emergency button. In your role doing that, is your job to tell a city council the truth, or is your job to calm them down? Because they are not necessarily one and the same thing. You know, as we've seen, I think the ACLU did the blog post where they listed out some of the examples where people fulfilling similar roles from Flock would.
Thanks, Darky.
I'm not sure if the ACL used the word lie, but like the information was incorrect.
That's
you know,
a good
and
one,
that's the information that was provided. So, like, was your job to tell the truth, or was it to basically just calm the city council down?
You know, at the time, you think you're giving them the best information possible, and that it boils down to maybe ideological differences with the ACLU. I mean, something that I just remember in my training, and then over and over again, it's like in this team, we would say, we're not really in opposition with the ACLU. We actually agree with the ACLU that these things should be regulated and that there should be transparency. There should be robust policies to keep a check on these things, and there should be data storage limits. We agree with those. We may disagree on the amount of storage. We think 30 days.
Before I forget to do this, let me go ahead and pull up that flock camera video too, because I think it's important. Yeah, this one right over here. I've already shown this a few times on stream, but obviously we're doing a stream about flock. Dude, are you fucking kidding me? Why does Brave do this, man? Sometimes the videos just straight up don't work. Okay, well, hopefully this will load later. Let's go back to the video.
Good amount of time. It makes me uncomfortable to say we.
Sure, but it's a force of habit.
It's a force of habit, and
yeah.
Again, I'm here in the spirit of being vulnerable, but also I think in the spirit of opposing this, and I'm part of this broader movement against it. But I'm just gonna say this was a different time.
You're recounting it. People understand why you're saying we. Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm cringing inside, but it was this.
I unsubscribed from Jacksepticeye for joining Make-A-Wish. Same thing, honestly. Really? I didn't know Make-A-Wish had issues.
We weren't the bad guys. The bad guys were the people in the streets committing crime.
Yeah, that was.
And then the bad guys, or like the lesser good guys, were our competition, because even there's competitors out there who do sell the data, right? So that was the big talking point for us and I had all these talking points in my mind. I knew how to rebut just about everything that you can throw at me, and one of the major selling points was no facial recognition, and then the data is yours. The data.
Oh my god. That didn't just age like milk. That aged like fucking, I don't know, old mozzarella cheese. That's so awful.
It's yours. Like, why are you so worried, right? The data is yours. You can do as you please. Contractually, it's yours, right? And I'm like, there's another vendor out there who will sell your data.
And that was usually effective, those talking points.
Yeah. And I mean, there was this whole horseshoe theory thing, and it's not like a unique thing to Flock. It's just there's this theory that, the extreme left and extreme right eventually, agree on something, and it's like everyone has a libertarian sense of...
Yeah, you know what they agree on? Fucking harvesting everyone's data. I mean, look at ID age verification.
Because no one wants to be supporting Big Brother, So we were always addressing these Big Brother concerns.
What's up,
and
TK?
Then whenever there was these civil rights concerns, that's when the job got harder, right? That's when
they should overseer, but they won't.
Needed to really think through what are the demographic concerns. So, if it wasn't privacy concerns on the right, it was civil rights concerns on the left. But the reality is, Flock does a phenomenal job with their propaganda system. Right, it's lying by omission. It's lying by not telling you the whole truth.
What's up, Billy?
It's lying by not telling you the weaknesses within the system.
Once again, shout out to this guy, man. He's got balls. I mean, yeah. Which what the fuck? Whistleblowers. Why do I keep saying which? Whistleblowers. Yeah, fate isn't usually too kind on them, so I hope he stays safe, man.
Created that enables data sharing with ICE. That enables police officers to go track down their ex-girlfriends, that enables people to go after law enforcement agencies to go after women who are seeking to have abortion access. So Flock by that
yeah.
level.
You know what the funny thing is, and again, maybe we need to fucking do a video or stream on BetterHelp or something. They're still going strong, dude. Like like you have to pay YouTubers and Twitch streamers to work with them. If a company still has money to pay, for sponsors and stuff, or to sponsor people, that means they're doing well. So BetterHelp is like, they've still managed to survive, despite the fact that, they've been exposed 1,000 times. So anytime I see anybody do a BetterHelp sponsorship, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck, man? Please do a stream on BetterHelp soon. I mean, I'd be down, but people got to watch it, man. Is what I'm saying. Like, like our turnout for this Flock stream isn't too great, to be honest. I mean, I'm down, but people just got to watch, dude.
Of a mission, in my view, is perpetuating a propaganda model and not actually informing people, right? And it's business as usual. But people in the company are aware of these flaws, and there's brilliant people in that company who also don't agree with the future of that company.
Yeah,
and there's
people thought Honey was good and Mega. Yeah, oh yeah, Honey was on a different level, dude. They had, because they're owned by PayPal, so they have infinite money. They were working with everybody. You guys can call up your grandmas and grandpas And your grandpa's neighbors and stuff, they were probably sponsored by by Honey too. I mean, they were just everywhere.
They're still there. And then many of us left, but even when there were these bigger debates happening, there were people like myself pushing back against Flock having any partnership with the feds. And then we were right, because they eventually went on to have a pilot with the Department of Homeland Security. And then, there were many concerns around having these broader contracts that were, by design, not putting the real limits that there should be on the data and the data sharing. The reality now, and again, I'm just going to remind people, it wasn't as popular to oppose Flock. Like, Flock was under the radar. I mean, 404 Media, has been, at the cutting edge, and you guys have always been, way ahead of the curve. But it's always this critical mass that needs to bring up a broader movement, right? So, if history will absolve me, it's because we weren't aware of how
Really, Nexus?
deeply
That's
entrenched
crazy.
this broader surveillance system was. And now it's becoming more and more clear as we have a fascist administration, like kidnapping people.
Yeah, I've made videos about Pi. If you guys don't know what Pi ad blocker is, it's from the same people who made Honey. I've already made videos on Pi ad blocker. You guys should go check those out. This one did pretty well. I mean, they both did pretty well, but this one particularly did pretty well because they were made by the creators of Honey, and let's just say they're very shady themselves.
In broad daylight, right? Like literally trampling over the Constitution. So these were concerns, and I remember my colleague who wrote a whole thing and got laughed at.
What was the thing about these concerns, about it being in the second Trump administration, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean,
you never heard of Pi ad blocker? They're not too relevant nowadays, but especially like a year or two ago, they were also working with a bunch of YouTubers and getting a bunch of ad space.
2025, and we know Trump really loves to violate human rights, right? We know that there's this concerted agenda to go after immigrants, to go after women seeking abortions, that there's a concerted effort to federalize a lot of local law enforcement, right? To have deeper partnerships between the feds and local police departments that want to pretend they're feds.
About to kick off now.
And I remember my colleague getting laughed at, and he said, hey, there's a broader, and I knew he was going to get laughed at, but you still try. And at the time, it's like me and him were part of different sides ideologically, but we understood a company like this one is very dangerous when you don't have a constitution that's updated for the internet. So we just understood that the Fourth Amendment had no teeth. We understood that. And we understood that there's no parameters behind this. And a company that is this self-delusional, right, is very dangerous when you have a fascist administration like Trump. He and I eventually left, but he did his best to try to steer the ship. I was just making an exit plan.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, just briefly on even people inside the company not knowing, I remember when we obviously covered the local police were doing lookups in the nationwide Flock system on behalf of Immigration Customs Enforcement.
I'm good,
or
Lily.
HSI
How are you doing? Thank you
as
for
well,
asking.
and searches all related to immigration, that sort of thing. We, of course, get comment from Flock various times, and
That's a good question,
they do
Finn. I don't
acknowledge
know.
that was happening, but they say very strongly, no, we do not have a contract with federal immigration authorities. Seems there was some sort
Thank
of
you for the $2 by DD.
miscommunication, I remember,
Appreciate
at
it.
the time, because local media then found it in the network audits themselves, and Flock had to come out and say, yes, actually, we are having a pilot program with federal authorities. So as you say, even employees inside the company were like siloed off.
I don't want to be President Johan.
And
I'm not smart enough I feel like to get like that high up in politics, you gotta burn some bridges with your own morality,
wondering, was that sort of a culture thing that shifted? It seems like at the start, Flock is like quite open and people are,
That's exactly what you should be. Yeah, no thanks.
Debating
But thank
fairly
you
openly
for
internally, and now
kindness.
you're siloing off like a very important piece of information. Was that a shift, or was it always like that?
It's hard to
Fuck you mean even, Drake? Fuck you too, buddy. No, I'm just kidding.
say, because looking back now, I think it was just very clear that there was an insider circle that was making all these decisions, and everyone was there as decoration. And that's easier for me to say now that I'm the outside. But when you're inside, you think you actually have real say, and you think that
Yeah,
it's like an
you're
open
right,
door
Finn.
policy. Everyone can talk to anyone type of thing. Reality is that it's a business and they want those federal contracts, right? They have competition. I don't want to get to too many specifics, but there are other competitors. And that's part of what
Is
I also
this the other competitors? Is this what you guys were talking about, like that Axon company or whatever?
want to impart on people here is that it's not just Flock. Flock has other serious competitors, and they are a company like any other that have to take on an enormous amount of investments that they have to pay back. And it's capitalism as usual. They have to take over the market.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the kindness, but appreciate it. I don't want to be in politics, man.
To justify the amount of money it took them to get at that level, right? Like they have an investment portfolio like that. That's like a real thing. And I mean, they even acquired drones. So you all of a sudden are increasing your
What
overhead.
a terrifying company, man. Holy shit. So glad that he's, saying this type of stuff.
And your margins get very thin, right? Like it's this thing about companies, when you grow very big, you start absorbing market share and all that. You have to be competitive. So enough so that I felt like I was lied to for many months. And I really just want to share this part of the story. In 2025, I was supposed to run for city council in my city, in Waltham. I was supposed to run again. And then I started abducting people in broad daylight. And my city went viral, like just the level of violence.
What?
That was involved in some of these abductions in broad daylight. So I helped start a rapid response hotline in Massachusetts called Luce. And I also started...
Wait, who started abducting people? He started abducting people? What?
Then I started abducting...
Oh, ICE. Okay. Oh my God. The subtitle fucked me up. The subtitle says, then I started abducting people. He said, then ICE started abducting. Okay, I was about to say. I was like, what? You just admit to kidnapping?
Involved in some of these...
What's up, Super Sniper?
Abductions in broad daylight. So I helped start a rapid response hotline in Massachusetts called Luce. And I also started a rapid response system in my neighborhood. And throughout the better part of that year, I chased ICE agents. I saw people get kidnapped. I saw families be destroyed because I lived it myself.
Hey, thank you, Newt. I appreciate that, dude.
I'm the son of immigrants. It's no secret. My dad was deported when I was 14 years old. I've seen the violence that happens with the state. To me, I said, over my dead body, we're going to let this happen. So we not only responded to ICE activity, we raised money for families while I'm working for Flock.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout this whole time, I'm expressing my concern within the company. Do not work with ICE. Do we work with ICE? Are we working with ICE? Are there plans to work with ICE? Right? And throughout the whole time, the company line was, we don't work with ICE. If someone wants to use the technology to partner, it's a 287G agreement, they can do that and they can buy the technology. It's called all of Florida, by the way.
Right.
I don't know if it's just this guy's face, by the way. Like, do you guys see this too? But like, he always looks like he's about to cry. Maybe it's just his camera or something. I don't know.
It's called all of Florida, by the way.
Right.
Like his eyes look like they're always watering.
That was what I was sold and lied to about. I didn't know that there were these mechanisms inside the company that were essentially fighting to get this pilot.
Maybe he's tired. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, maybe he's scared. I mean, again, he's saying things that could get him in a lot of trouble. That's what I'm saying. Like, shout out to him. I mean, he's got a lot of balls, dude.
Happen.
How did you feel then when you were doing all this work on the streets and you're asking these questions internally, and then you
meanwhile the guy talking to him looks like he's just like dead inside. This guy looks fucking bored as hell.
Find out that yes, local police are doing local lookups for ICE and they do have this pilot program. How did you feel when those two things collided mentally?
That's when I knew I needed to make an exit.
Yeah.
The guy on the left looks like he's staring into my soul. I feel a little uncomfortable, dude. I don't know.
Collided mentally.
That's when I knew I needed to make an exit.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to bring some levity to this situation, okay? They're talking about some serious stuff.
You know, and I'm just going to say this out loud. You know, I come from very modest means. I'm, again, the son of immigrants. I'm the first in my family to go to college. It was a miracle for me to go to college. I actually graduated with Joe Biden's granddaughter and Trump's youngest daughter, if you can believe it. It was a crazy commencement.
That's a pretty interesting combination.
Holy
I'm
shit,
an
he just
outlier,
showed
you
some
know.
emotion. I didn't even know that guy had an emotion.
I needed a job at the time, and when I knew that this job was really toxic and against my values, I needed to make an exit plan. But at the time, you know, I was deeply aware and asking questions and critical.
Axon invented the taser? Really? That's a fun fact. I didn't know that.
You know, I wasn't self-deluded, but I was kind of living like a Hannah Montana thing where like I'm doing this in the daylight and I'm like a vigilante in the nighttime, you know, like I'm, you know, and that was
I
was
appreciate
really
that this
painful.
guy
And
makes
that
like Gen Z references. I like that. Not everyone's gonna get the Hannah Montana joke, but I get it.
aged me is to become fully aware that there is a massive surveillance apparatus that's only growing to do an ethnic cleansing in this country. You know, to go after immigrants, to completely destroy due process, to like I've seen.
No, Axon did not invent the taser. The device was originally invented in the early 1970s by NASA scientist Jack Cover. Okay, well, don't shoot the messenger. I didn't say that.
Literally ICE agents racially profile people, and I've defended mothers who were supposed to get picked up and they were getting harassed, right? And then I went to go do a meeting to sell our product in a city council meeting.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, it's a lot of cognitive dissonance. I can absolutely imagine. So that happens, you leave, and frankly, when we were covering the ICE stuff, primarily Flock, but then also, you know, of course, we revealed ICE has the facial recognition at Mobile Fortify and using sources inside
The
ICE
taser
and
was
DHS
invented by a
and all of that
NASA scientist. It's interesting.
sort of stuff. I kind of thought the Flock conversation, that was maybe going to be the peak of it, but I was very, very wrong, because now the conversation around Flock is bigger than ever. It is a nationwide conversation every single day. New outlets are publishing stuff, activists find new information, concerned residents are turning up to city council meetings essentially every single day. It's now become this really, really huge thing where individual communities are deciding, do we want these cameras in our local neighborhoods or not? And some do vote to do that, of course, taking into account everything you said with the lobbying efforts and sometimes just going around city councils. Other times they say, no, we don't want these, and they get them.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, again, I don't have like any voting data in front of me, but I'm pretty sure the overwhelming majority mean that they don't want them. You know, I'm pretty sure most people, like, I don't think it's like a 50-50. I think that it's most people don't want Flock cameras because they're fucking weird and they're anti-privacy. I don't think it's like that controversial to dislike Flock cameras.
Out. What do you think about
that's awesome,
when you look
byte.
at the nationwide debate today, which is the most fierce it's ever been? Like, what do you think when you see that nationwide debate going on at the moment?
Organizing works. Organizing works, and it's the only thing that's ever changed.
What's your opinion on AI songs? I have the same opinion on AI songs that I do on AI everything, AI videos, everything. If people want to make them, I mean, I can't stop you from doing it, right? You can make them, right? I think that websites, YouTube, Twitter, whatever, should not promote AI stuff over real people stuff. Apparently, there are Spotify artists, if you want to fucking call them that are making AI songs and they're beating real artists. That is fucking dumb. There are AI YouTubers out there that are beating real YouTubers. That is fucking dumb. The fact that websites and algorithms are recommending AI stuff over real made stuff by real people, that is where my issue lies. Like YouTube, if they don't want to get rid of all the AI from their fucking website, fine, we can't stop you. But give me a fucking button somewhere. Give me a button that says on my homepage, I don't even watch videos on this channel, so I don't know what's going on my homepage, right? Give me a fucking button somewhere that says turn off AI. Give me a not. You see how there's an AI button? Give me a no AI button. I want to see the no AI button. That is what I would want. That's what pisses me off, that every single website forces us to consume all this AI shit. Just give me the no AI button so I don't have to see that crap. That's just my opinion.
Change history. It's the only way that people have overcome massive odds, that we've taken down tyrants. Organizing is the key to success here, and I'm standing on your shoulders, Joseph, because people that were honest and asking these critical questions went on from asking critical questions
That's true,
and
Arrow.
having an understanding to doing something with that, right? Enough that it became a movement, and there's a critical mass now to the point where the door ring
I don't know why
camera
the
thing,
subtitles are right over there. There you
The
go.
Ring partnership, yeah.
that got completely destroyed after because of the outcry of
AI
it, right?
tab showed Gamers Nexus. How the fuck? It did? Okay, let me go see it again. Keep in mind, I don't watch videos on this channel, so none of this stuff I actually watch other than my own gaming channel. Gamers Nexus was on the AI section? Oh. FU Sony. Is it because he discussed AI in the video? Yeah, I don't know why they put Gamers Nexus in the AI section. Like they put Critical in the AI section, but he is talking about AI. I guess maybe Gamers Nexus talked about AI in this video or whatever. I never explored the AI section, but it actually doesn't look like too much AI. It's people talking about AI, which is interesting. Huh. Yeah, YouTube is weird, man.
Right? Like that doesn't happen overnight. That is consciousness raising and people doing something with that consciousness enough that there's a bunch of vigilantes, people going out and taking down these cameras and perfecting that. And I think what we have to appreciate and understand is that the fight's not over, and that there needs to be broader systemic change. So I love the energy. I'm here for all of that, and again, I will remind people, it wasn't always popular to hate on Flock, right?
Well, it is now. And rightfully so.
Flockaganda was actually the status quo, where you had images of babies that were rescued because someone was abducting someone else's child, right? Like that was the status quo, was people going after crime. They were crime solvers. But now there's a movement to fight back, to restore the Fourth Amendment. And I think that everything is leading to this systemic analysis and this need for systemic transformation, where we do need to restore the Fourth Amendment. And I don't think it's enough to just say, hey, we need a federal law that anytime
really Ender? Oh, that sucks, man. Your mom is an avid defender of Flock? Oh god.
License plate reader data, you need to get a warrant, right? Like we need to restore the right to privacy in a digital world. Right? Does that look like a digital Bill of Rights? I hope so. Right? Does that mean ethical use of AI and algorithms? Right? Like a people's AI, right? That takes back our intellectual property and takes it away from the hands of these 6 individuals that completely control the AI sector that's propping up our economy. So I encourage people, keep fighting, keep taking these cameras down in your city's budgets. But we need to talk about the federal picture, and we need.
But like, I don't know, like that's like a double-edged sword. The whole keep taking these cameras down thing, because if he means in a literal sense, like, I mean, I wouldn't recommend people do that. Like, because I've heard people are getting arrested for it, right? I mean, obviously, I don't want people to go get thrown in jail or something. Try to vote them out, vote the people out that support them. But I don't know. I've heard people have gotten arrested for taking them down.
Need to make sure that we are addressing.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. Why is YouTube's homepage so weird, man?
The broader surveillance apparatus, right? Because it's not just Flock. The thing about Flock that's very appealing is that it's a physical thing looking at you, right? You're driving, you see it.
It's very easy to grasp. Yeah.
This phone of yours is doing something similar. And that was always a talking point of ours, was like, well, your phone's already tracking you. So what's the difference? And then people were like, well, and it's like, do you want to be able to find someone who jacked someone's car? Like, do you want to be able to solve crime in your cities, a murder? And then people were like, yeah, well, that's my job and I need to get reelected. So they're like, okay, I will support this technology, right? But I think it's just important that we talk about the broader federal picture and we restore our constitutional rights to the Fourth Amendment. And also we need to have rights when it comes to this data, because it's all connected. Flock cameras are basically cameras with algorithms and AI that are super powered. Right, like that's basically what's
he's spitting facts. I mean, that's true.
Happening is super powered cameras. Twist it whatever way you want. I think we need to protect ourselves from those things.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the recent Supreme Court ruling, which I covered briefly from the perspective of smartphone location data, also has ramifications for flock cameras. It has ramifications for all sorts of other surveillance technology. We're yet to see sort of the fallout from that recent ruling, but maybe in the coming months and years, we'll see that. Obviously, this stuff takes some time. For my last question, I'm going to ask you to speculate a little bit. So I appreciate this is going to be your own opinion and like not direct knowledge because of course you've left the company, but like what do you think is happening inside Flock right now? As in, do you think this is like a crisis for the company, this nationwide debate? Is it existential for Flock? And again, I know you're outside, but as someone who was previously inside the company, like is this a crisis for Flock, everything, this whole nationwide discussion?
I'm going to try not to enjoy the answer to this question, but they're doing damage control. Their CEO who called basic, public participation, basic democratic participation against their technology, he called it terrorism,
Yeah.
and now he's backtracking.
That is true. He did say that. I remember seeing that. The Flock CEO is a fucking tool, man.
That, right? They're a company that's very attuned to where the wind is blowing. They had talking points after the killing of George Floyd, right? And they had talking points when Trump got elected. It's a very adaptive company, as many tech companies are. So we should not be naive to the fact that they are going to evolve their flockaganda. They're going to evolve their reach. They're
Good one, Jonathan. Good one. I like it.
To stay competitive in a market, and we should not be naive. They're not going to change their mission. Their very purpose is a workaround basic public scrutiny. They're a very sophisticated company, and they exist to help surveil people, and that's what they're great at doing. So we should, the CEO again flip-flopped, calling people terrorists and then taking that back. They're seeing people take down their poles, and these are poles that can actually withstand extreme weather. So it's really impressive to see the level of commitment that people have in taking them down. I never thought it would be perfected as a science, to be honest. What I'm saying is this: we need to make sure that companies that are driven by profit to surveil people are obsolete. If the best your state can do is pass some kind of like data protection law, then do it. But federally speaking, we need to have our eyes on the prize and make sure that we restore the Fourth Amendment, and that there needs to be a real people's-led movement to have our right to privacy, our right to our bodies, our right to our movement around in our community, our right to our data, our right to our intellectual property via AI, and be very clear about our right to freedom and not be surveilled and not be controlled in a police state. I just want to make one quick point that I think is also just not being mentioned enough, is that companies like Flock really propagandize street crime. They're really good at making you see that there's criminals out there and violent crime, property crime. They're really going after poor people, working people. And yeah, is there violence? Sure. But as we found out, there's also crime in the suites. It's not just crimes in the streets, right? Like we have a whole Epstein class of people that we're not.
Oh my God, man. Hey, man. I hope this guy doesn't disappear.
Holding accountable. And we need to hold accountable these billionaires, these warmongers, these fascists. This country's running amok, and there's a lot of corporate crime that's going under investigated, underreported. So, this is a time for this movement against Flock. We need to have some degree of class conscious and say, we need to have each other's backs and not talk about the good criminal versus the bad criminal. Like, we need to go after the very rich and powerful who are making our lives difficult, right? Because we know that crime just doesn't happen because people are bad.
I mean, he's spitting facts.
Right? And that's
I'm just saying.
Literally the language that police departments use all the time. A bad guy. We're going after a bad guy. And you want to... It is phenomenal. And it is perfected propaganda that they have. Right. So we need to be able to have a better understanding of how to treat people and treat our neighbors, because not everything needs to be criminalized. Right. So I just want to make this point very clear, is that we need to have working class solidarity and go after these rich and powerful people. And if we're going to talk about public safety seriously, we need to talk about having quality housing, education, universal healthcare, accessible and affordable childcare, right? Like, you want to prevent crime, give people a chance.
Yeah.
Right? Give people a chance at life, right? Rather than going after the people who are most vulnerable and left behind. So I just want to be, that's the hypocrisy and contradiction that I think that we need to really appreciate, is that there is a lot of corporate crime that's going underreported. And if you really are serious
True.
about that, we need to go after those people who are committing social violence, in a whole host of ways. So I think that's kind of under theorized, I think, in this conversation, but we should delve deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. Jonathan, thank you so much for doing this. I really, really appreciated and enjoyed this
Yeah, man, he was
conversation.
spitting facts, to be honest.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I gotta look more into this guy. Is this guy an actual politician right now? He said that he ran for something. So he's running for Congress right now. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too much in the political side of it. This isn't a political channel, but the point is that he was spitting facts, especially at the end there. Anti-privacy government is upon us, especially in the United States. We are actually turning into North Korea, Russia, all of that, before our very eyes. He spoke very candidly. He spoke about a lot of things that could have gotten him in trouble. He mentioned the e-files. I mean, yeah, he didn't shy away from anything. You got to give him props for that. Like, guy's got balls. Let's go read some of the comments. Let's see what people think. Excellent interview. Flock slipped into Agawam. I think that's Massachusetts in March. Didn't find out until June. Shout out to Luis Rossman. And is it Louis Rossman? I keep messing up his name. I'm sorry. And Ben Jordan for doing the work, as well as 404. Okay, cool. Really sounds like a guy that uses political position to get a job is not using his former job to get a new political position. I don't know about all that, but Flock working with ICE, least surprising news ever. Yeah. I mean, whether you agree with him or not, I mean, guy's got balls to say the stuff that he was saying, man. So, yeah, man. See if there's anything here at the end.
And I don't think it's enough to just say, hey, we need a federal law that anytime you want to that consciousness. Enough.
Is there more?
This systemic to our data. And if we're going to talk about public safety seriously, we need to talk about having quality housing, education.
As a reminder,
no, I think we just accidentally skipped backwards or something.
This, I really, really appreciated and enjoyed the media and directly support our work where we talk about it.
Oh, this is just the part where they just tell you to subscribe and all that. Okay. Yeah. Pretty interesting. What did you guys think? It's Louis Rossman? Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure I try to get that right. Yeah, I mean, shout out to Louis Rossman as well. I mean, he does a lot of great work. Very interesting. Good peak. Good. He's brave. Yeah, he's definitely brave. Again, if you regardless of whether you agree or disagree, I mean, dude's got balls. They put these cameras up themselves. Third-party contractors install them. Cable/internet companies like Dish. Really? No way. Watch the news headline tomorrow. Watch out. No, well, this was 2 weeks ago. I wanted to do this stream 2 weeks ago when this actually came out. Maybe the viewer turnout would have been better because it was a more topical topic, but we were getting sub-botted. We still got sub-botted today, by the way. And I still contend that we are still sub-botted even now because I'm telling you, there's no way we gained 10,000 subscribers in 10 days. I mean, it's possible, but it just doesn't seem right. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're still sub-botted. Like, YouTube still got to remove some of those. Here's what it's looking like on Joa's website. Shout out to my man Joa. We did get sub-botted today as well at about 12 p.m. Well, actually, we got sub-botted a little earlier than that, but you know what I mean. Around 11 a.m., we started getting sub-botted. Then YouTube removed some of them. Then YouTube removed more. I have noticed one thing. I'll give YouTube credit for this. YouTube is removing the sub-botters quicker over the last few days. That I have noticed for sure. Normally, it takes them a bit, but now they're removing it within only the same hour or so of when we actually get sub-botted. It has definitely slowed down, so that's good, but it's still happening. Our gaming channel, which again I was mentioning to you guys, also what's it called, is also subbotted, about 2K subs. Maybe YouTube actually listens to you now. I don't know. They usually don't. Oh yeah, that video I wanted to show you guys on Twitter. Yeah, let's go see it. Oh, it loaded. Nice. Okay. So I've already shown this video before on other streams, but this is literally a stream about Flock, so we have to. So here's a guy talking about the fact that Flock cameras track him and his phone as he walks by. Flock emits Bluetooth signal for phone connection and tracking. So let me know how the volume's going.
So we are getting this Flock camera. It's emitting
Me
this
too, Darky.
Connect 36295 Bluetooth signal. It will randomly emit that. You can see it right there. We observed it 32 seconds ago. I can start this back up.
Yeah, it's been more than
See
2 weeks,
we'll
Snoop.
observe it consistently. This specific unit is obviously set off by human motion. Whether that's taking a picture of me is questionable, but
Terrifying,
the IR
man.
element definitely is set off from human motion. As you can see, no cars are coming. There's that connect signal. It's a Bluetooth signal. You can see at the top there. It's coming from the back of this battery pack. I believe it's coming from that white battery module emitting a Bluetooth signal. This looks to be a standard Falcon ALPR unit, so it's not going to be the AI video powered condo
Thanks,
unit.
Dark.
The easiest way to tell is the camera.
Yeah, watch.
The
Yep,
IR
Kepler.
unit is more towards the top of the camera as opposed to the Condor where they're on the middle. You'll be able to see this triggered by the cars. It's taking 6 to 8 images of each vehicle as it goes by, make, model, color, decals, damage, and then it's uploading that basically via LTE to Flock OS where it becomes searchable, indexable, and they can refer to it later. So very extensive system.
Definition
Again,
of
we're
mass
picking up that
surveillance.
Connect 36295 signal coming from the what I believe is the BLE battery pack, or the battery pack on the back of here giving off a BLE signal.
Terrifying. So yeah, that's the thing. Our Twitch still very much follower botted. Twitch has done absolutely nothing. We got botted last on our Twitch on August 9th, so 10 days ago, and they haven't done jack diddly shit. This is what the YouTube is looking like over the last 30 days. Pretty wild ride. I believe this started happening August 3rd. I don't even remember anymore. Rural Nevada seems like a nice place to live nowadays. Hey, be careful. They might have Flock cameras. Looks like a heart monitor. True. Twitch employees got to be on vacation right now. Yeah, they always are, man. Twitch doesn't give a shit about bots, man. Ross is the reason why I have a Clippy channel on YouTube and Twitter. Yeah. This is a heart monitor. We're dead. No. Thanks for the 2 bits, Joa. Thank you for the 100 bits earlier, too. Good night, Splinter. On Twitch, follows doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it doesn't mean anything on YouTube either. But the point is that I want them to give us our normal follower count back, which is actually just 1,500. Yeah, that's true, Wolf. Thank you to all the real people who have subscribed. Really means a lot, guys. I'm good, Wolfster. How you doing, dude? Thanks for subscribing. Crazy Twitch hasn't removed them yet, although to be fair, they always got to fight view bots. Sub bots probably low priority. Well, they didn't fight the view bots that we got either. We got view botted up to like 5,500 viewers on Twitch one night. They didn't do shit about it. In fact, they gave us credit for the views. Yeah, me too, Drake. Thanks, dude. I don't know if I mean, we might actually be at 250K. It's hard to tell because obviously ever since this happened, we don't know. Apparently, YouTube thinks that we actually have 257,000 subscribers, and we possibly could. I mean, we've had some videos that did pretty well recently, but like, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't seem feasible to me. We've gotten a few videos that have done really well recently. But just because you get 100,000 views in a video like we did over here, that doesn't translate to 10,000 subscribers. You know, that's insane. So this video did really well as well. But you can actually check in YouTube Studio how many subscribers you got for those videos. And for both these videos combined, it's only like 1,000 subscribers. So it wouldn't make sense on how we jumped up to 10,000. But if you've noticed, YouTube doesn't remove anything past like 257,000. So YouTube seems to think that that's what our subs are at. So I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what our actual sub count is. Thank you, all elites. All we can do is guess stats. I have no idea. Me too, Darky. Me too. Our goal was at the beginning of this year to hit 300K by the end of the year. Probably not going to happen, but we'll try. Yeah, Newt, they definitely really fucked up our whole everything. I mean, we technically hit 400K subs. Woo! But we didn't actually hit 400K subs. But as you can see over here, they bought us up to freaking 414,277. So it's just like, okay. So the goal is to hit 300K real subs by the end of the year. But one, I don't even think it'll be possible. And two, even if it was, we don't know if it's real, you know? But that would have reflected in the statistics, all elite, and it doesn't. Like, YouTube will tell you how many subscribers you get from a live stream or from a video, you know? Because if that was the case, then it would reflect in the statistics, but it hasn't. DP, you're funny. I'm not, but thank you, Carol. You see the live stream ban in Brazil? You mean in Discord? Yeah, I saw that. Thanks, Darky. I wish Gilded was a thing still. Fuck Roblox. I don't even know what Gilded is. Was that like a game similar to Roblox? Gilded was an alternative to Discord. Oh, okay. Yeah, never heard about it. All right, guys. I think we'll call it a day there. So appreciate everybody for watching. Please be sure to leave a like on the stream before we go, and make sure you subscribe and notifications on so you don't miss the next video. Oh, let me tell you guys what tomorrow's video will be on. To show appreciation for you guys being here. Tomorrow's video is going to be on YouTube banning a video because somebody killed a baby zombie in Minecraft. You heard that correct. That is what tomorrow's video will be on. So I will see you guys then. 10:40 a.m. PST. Take care of yourselves. Have a great night. Love you all. And see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.